Hey all, welcome back to the channel. So, a little bit of a different video for today because we have a special guest here to talk about our favorite deck here on the channel. So please, Gabe, introduce yourself and tell us what you did.
Hi, my name is Gabriel de la Torre. I got 7th place at the Kissimmee Regional this weekend. Um, I'll just go through my matchups real quick. It was a lot of meta, and I won a lot of die rolls, which definitely helped a lot. My round one was Galaxy Eyes Tachyon. Um, I won the die roll for that one as well. The Odeon Kashtira, which I also won the die roll, and I also won that game in time with one of the most goated cards of all time, which I'll show later. I played against Malice at Ignister round 3, where I won the die roll, thankfully. I actually won the die roll against every Malice player I played against, which I think helped me a lot. Like, not having to immediately face the Malice engine, like going second game 1 is so helpful. And there were some cool plays I did in that game as well. And then round 4 was also Malice, and I won the die roll again. And both of the matches were pretty close, but the way they played out was basically game 1 I would play through 3 hand traps and just make a board and have enough interruptions to beat the engine. Game 2 I would like try to charge me them, they would ash me, and then they would just full combo and then activate thrust, set DDG, and I would be like, okay, you got it, go game 3.
Sure.
And then game 3 I just play like through 3 hand traps again, and I just win the game. So I wouldn't call Malice a very interesting matchup, but it is what it is. Although I think the last Malice player I played against, we actually played a very interesting game, because March Hare is a cool card actually. So that was round 4. Round 5 I played against Raisio Mitsurugi. I won that one, and I also won the die roll. And then the first time I lost the die roll was on round 6 against Pure Mitsurugi. I lost 0-2 to that deck because I just got owned. I put them on not playing Nibiru because they had bricked and then they double foo at me, and I was like, maybe they're playing the version that's like playing Charmies and Breakers, so I can just like kill them through the double fua, and then I get nibbed. I can't kill them, they have too many cards, and I lose. And then the game 2, I only opened Fiendsmith engine, and my opponent accidentally reveals their impulse trying to hit Requiem, but I didn't have cards on field. So I'm like, you can't activate it right now. And I was thinking about how to beat Impulse, so I was trying everything to bait it, but I never drew anything that could actually beat it, and then eventually they just won the game. I made like a Caesar, they like made a Typhon to out it, and then we played like a little grind game. But I had Bone Party Fusion in hand the whole time and never saw a name, so I like literally could not win the game.
The worst.
Yeah. Then the next match I played against Pure Mitsurugi again, and I lost the die roll again, but we played the craziest game I think I've ever played. It was a grind game where they bricked game 1, but then I tried to kill them through it, and then I got imperm nibbed, like impermed on my Caesar and then nibbed. And so we had to play a grind game where I basically had to play Fiendsmith control. I banished the Duke of Demise to add back a Lacrima at some point to try to keep playing, and then I set up Baphomet on that same turn. And then when my opponent tried to go for game, I Baphomet summoned Duke of Demise in defense, and Duke of Demise has a tiny line of text that says, "This card cannot be destroyed by battle." My opponent did not read that, and I just won the game off of that. They could not kill me with their Amino swing. So that was crazy. And then my next match was round 8 against Malice Mathmech, which is a very cool deck, and I played the player a lot, and they're a very good player. We drew because we played a very long game 1 that was very interesting because they March Hare during my turn and like set up a TD11 and made a Cryptor during my turn, like with the March Hare pointing to it. So it couldn't be targeted, so I couldn't out it with King, so I had to out the March Hare, and then they had a Cryptor live for their second turn. And it was like a weird grind game, but eventually I managed to beat them. And then it just took too long, so game 3 I tried to time card them. And they had Fua, so I tried to do it in a way where I didn't play with Fiendsmith cards to give them the least amount of draws possible. But I realized that I didn't have enough bodies to do like Cross Sheep with a Fusion underneath to summon back the time card, so we just drew. And then my last round was against Mitsurugi, which I 2-0'd like really easily. I think Memento specifically has a very, very strong Mitsurugi matchup. Because their end board kind of is very easy to beat, and their Futsu summoning back a ton of stuff in defense actually ends up becoming a detriment to them if they don't play their little guys correctly. Like, because Combined Creation will just swing into them and kill them. Okay, so those were my matchups. I ended up going X 1-1, and that's how I got 7th place.
Radical.
Okay, now I'm gonna move down to the third.
Sure. Sounded like a really interesting run of stuff. Honestly, I didn't even know that about Duke of Demise. I'm like, okay, I know the standby phase, pay 500 to destroy it. I know the extra normal, the affecting graveyard, but there's also a can't be destroyed by battle clause.
Yeah, he can't be destroyed by battle.
I've never even read that, to be honest.
The reason I knew about it was because I had thought of that interaction at some point when I was comboing. Like, there's some combos that go through Duke of Demise and also set up Baphomet. And so I was thinking, like, in a worst case scenario, when you get like infinite board breaker and they try to kill you, you can always Baphomet a Duke of Demise in defense and not die. And it actually came up, which was crazy.
That's amazing. Well,
cool. So I guess I'll get into the main deck.
Yeah, please do.
Cool. This main deck is basically card for card the same deck as this other player that won the New South Wales State Championship. I was struggling with the deck a lot, trying to figure out what the correct ratios were. I was like on 42, 43 cards, trying different non-engine, trying different engine amounts, like cutting down on the Fiendsmith cards, like what Tack did, but I think his list is way better built than what I was trying to do. And then I saw this list and I was like, you know what, this list is just like insane amount of gas and then like some floodgate hand traps, and that just seems like really insane for the format, so I just tried it and it worked out perfectly.
Awesome.
I'll just go really quick through the card. So this is best starter in the deck, and then you have 3 of the best normal summons still, just because it doesn't play into Fua as hard, although it does play into Perulia, but since we play more Fiendsmith cards, we can actually beat Perulia really well. And then the 1 of Darkblade just to cut down on normal summons, and then 2 Goblin just because I do play 3 of the quick play spell. And then also as a 1-card normal summon, I figured out a line to make Mace a 1-card combo by going through Horn Dragon and Duke of Demise, and Proxy F Magician, which is like an insane combo, but it actually makes this card a 1-card combo. So if you're ever like down bad, like 4 non-engine, just 1 Mace, you can actually do the full thing uninterrupted, which is kind of cool.
And Memento players always know that like Mace has always been like a name that is so rough to draw. So hearing that there is now a combo that gets you just about anything you want through it is really a brilliant thing to hear. This card is always been weird, but I think just playing Duke of Demise in your deck makes it so that if you get to play even a little bit, you actually don't care about seeing that many normal summons. But you still only want to commit to like only running 1 Darkblade, because you need like the name for the combo, and also it's like a really good thing to like pop your Aki Huron and still go plus on bodies. But yeah, Mace was actually, I think it became a lot better if you build the extra deck like the way that Fiendsmith Memento players have been doing after Pac did his like original deck profile. And then some of the like more engine requirements. This is technically a 1.5 card starter because you can do full combo if you just have any other like brick name in your hand. But if you're normal summoning Sleepy, your hand is not very good usually. Unless you have Bone Party, that's pretty broken. And then just the 4 other guys. Eva knows that I hate this card. I like didn't play it for the longest time, and we were always we didn't argue about it, but you always liked this card and I didn't like it nearly as much. But what ended up happening is in the Fiendsmith version, you play so many utility fusions that you can't actually fit like a Solariston or
Guardian Chimera.
Mm-hmm.
So you need an interruption that you can set up when you make the minimal end board with under Fuelos, where you just end on this plus both of the spells
Mm-hmm.
and the field spell. And this just giving you the extra layer of interruption is just too important. And also apparently it makes Mesa one card combo. So why wouldn't you play it? I guess.
We won.
And then yeah, Horn Dragon won, unfortunately for me. 3 of the best quick play spell in the deck. And then I chose to max out on Breakout because it pairs specifically really well with the Fiendsmith cards. Dodging stuff on sequence, although it seems like most people have cut the Baylor type cards.
Mm-hmm.
I saw like one person activated Imperm against me, but like people are not playing those cards. So this card loses a bit of value, but it's still a 1.5 card like starter. Like it does the full thing with if you normal summon a Charmy and then tribute it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was still worth playing. And it still lets you beat hand traps. Like if your horse gets ashed and then you just activate this tribute Tatsu and then just summon a goblin, you just keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly what makes this deck kind of toxic to play against. But
sometimes, yeah, it's really interesting with Imperm stuff right now because this might be the weakest we've seen Imperm since like tier format, basically.
Yeah, I Imperm Valor are so bad right now. Cards just like the bodies matter almost more than the effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd, this format. And like every deck has so many extenders where and also just like play naturally well through those cards that you just go -1 when you activate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think maybe there's a world where you don't actually need this many, but it's still a starter technically. So and a good extender. So, and then 2 fusion. I needed to cut down on one of the quick play spells, and I only played 15 names in 44, so this seemed like the best one to cut. Because you play Duke of the Mice, you can actually use it to fusion summon using Fiendsmith monsters, so you could like dodge stuff on sequence, like going second and stuff. But it's still like kind of the brickier one, even though it's broken when you open it +2 names, obviously. And then the field spell, this card is broken. But it does suck to draw sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the Fiendsmith engine, which is just super standard. There's not much to say about this. These 2 cards are 1.5 card combos. As long as you have anything to normal summon off of Duke of the Mice, you can actually full combo if you see either of these, which is actually very, very strong. And then obviously Engraver's a 1 card combo. And Lurie just usually like makes Caesar or like SP Burr from that, or well, not SP Burr from that. It can do stuff with Duke of the Mice to add this back, and then you can like get more bodies. I don't know. There's some cool stuff you can do with just Lurie, but it's not very good.
How many?
And then
during the tournament, when you were using the Fiendsmith cards, you mentioned the one game where all you saw was Fiendsmiths, even though you had Bone Party and Fusion. How often did you have to use Fiendsmith cards to get to Memento Engine?
It depended, but I remember, like, for example, on my round 4 when I was playing against Malice and I got, I think I got ashed and then nibbed, and to play through the nib, the Engraver being able to make Aerial Eater, with like, so like you use the token from nib to make sequence with like the Lacrima body, so you can save your Engraver summon back, and then you make Aerial Eater dump a goblin, and then you just summon, you make the cross sheep, you summon back the Engraver, you equip Requiem, and you just make a Necroquip underneath the cross sheep, just summon back the goblin. And the most important thing about the Memento engine usually is getting to fusion. Like this card enables like so many bodies to like you, and it lets you access like the field spell and like Bone Party setup and stuff. So the fact that be a goblin you can get 2 fusion through Engraver, I think is super important. Yeah, I don't know, and it's also because I don't play like Desiree, I'll show you later, or like Agnum Day, so these cards by themselves aren't making like a crazy end board, they're just making Caesar. So it actually becomes way more important to get to Memento Engine through these cards. Even though it can be a bit weak to hand trap sometimes to commit that hard, but they were still very good. And then I have just non-engine. These cards are broken. I feel like everyone's playing them in their main deck. Some people play like Crossout, but obviously my deck can't play like that many hand traps, so there's no point in playing that card. Just having these in your deck, I don't know. If you draw them, you almost always win. And this card's okay going second sometimes, against Mitsu specifically, but they're mostly for going first. I think a lot of people like explain these cards as like you just want to always win game one. It's like it's probably the most important game in like the match usually this format. Just because side cards are so broken, like people are citing Feather Storms and shit.
Yeah.
And you just like you'll just get hit by like turn skips and you just can't win. And then just 6 Charmies. I didn't want to play more than this. I was testing 9 at one point. Your deck just becomes way too bad like going first. Sometimes you need like something extra to help your end board. But the basic game plan of this deck is you floodgate hand trap your opponent. You only need to see 1 non-engine, and then your engine will break their half board. So that's also why I played Droll, even though it conflicts with them. Just because this card actually is very effective at making the end boards weaker. And then the card that you want to draw off of Charmy, which is Drop It, which makes your engine just stronger into boards.
Yeah.
So that's the main deck, and it's 44 cards, and it's like exactly the same list as the guy from New South Wales actually. And then shout out, this is Witness the Absurd, cool artist. And then I will go, I guess, into the extra deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. So this is standard. Everyone knows you play these, and there's no argument. I think you don't cut the second one just because it comes up. And then the cards you summon off of sequence or proxy F sometimes. This is to access Memento through Fiendsmith. This card is just super flexible. When you go through Moon, you can add back Engraver, and then you get like extra bodies because you can discard it, add track, get a Lyria on the field. And this card's part of your end board, and it also helps you like, I don't know, I like set up a Chaos Hunter and banish against the Malice player, and I like actually messed up my combo. My end board was Caesar SP and the Baphomet with the Chaos Hunter banish, but I forgot to send Combined Creation to the graveyard, so I didn't actually have Memento Engine set up. It was just like the like stuff around the Memento Engine that was set up, but I still won the game because it was too insane to like just have Caesar plus Chaos Hunter set up. And then for the Fiendsmith stuff, Necroquip, Caesar. I mean, this card's just broken into both Mitsu and Malice, so it's very worth it to make. Although you can't make it in every combo, especially when you start with Fiendsmith cards, you usually can't make it. And then the trio, the Forbidden Trio, they're good. Their cards are good. And then the 2 like extender type Link monsters. I used to not believe in this card because I thought when Pac explained that this card was for Impulse, I thought if you had a position where you could make a Link to and have 2 Memento monsters on the board, you were probably still winning the game even if you couldn't make Twin Dragon like in any way. But this card comes up more in like just making Baphomet. You just use this with, you set up like a Fiend and a Beast, and you just make Baphomet, and then you make SP, and it just makes making Baphomet and like letting your sequence do other stuff like super strong. So I think it's worth playing. And then just SP as like an end board piece, and also just like because it's the most flexible card in Yu-Gi-Oh. And then Abao, I chose this an end board piece, but this card is also really good at extending through hand traps when you have a lot of bodies and you get interrupted weirdly. For example, if people hold Ash for Horse when you start Anguish and you have something like just a body like a Bestial or like in a grind game or something, you can make this with the extra body and like the sequence Aerial Eater and just summon back a Goblin this way as well. So you don't have to like have the exact setup for Cross Sheep. You can also just do it with a Bow. and this card forces Nib because people don't want to like let this get banished and then come back in the end phase and just have extra value. It just makes your end board so much stronger.
Yeah. And this card is, and Abao is like, has a couple of things that are just make it so crazy in this deck. One, if it makes it to turn 3, I mean, you're often already winning. But if you're not, you're gonna draw, you're gonna cycle like 8 cards off of it.
I think I've drawn 11 off of Abao. It almost never happens because like people realize they can't break the board and they just scoop. Yeah, this card's standby phase effect almost never resolves. But you like the non-targeting pop is broken, and then just when you're comboing, you can link off your SP, and then you can bring it back with a bow, and then your combined creation is still safe from Niv if they hold Niv forever.
I think it's a really smart. It's a really smart and flexible option instead of having to devote 2 slots to the Agnum Day and the Desiree.
Yeah. Plus, I felt like Desiree, I don't know, just like how we talked about, I don't know, it felt to me more important to be able to have these 2 cards than the Agnum Day Desiree.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I think it was okay. It worked out. And then for the side deck, I have this guy. He's
the
cool.
GOAT.
Yep. And then I wanted my going first cards to have utility going second. So when I sided out 6 Charmies, I put in 3 Ash, the Bestials, which just act as extenders, and also like they're good into Mitsu. That's why I wanted these cards. And then also this card is really broken against the Ryseal deck specifically, just because detaching Twins of the Eclipse off of a detonator whenever you want is very strong. There may be a world where it's better to play it the way like Pac did, for example, where he played 2 of this and then 1 Dug Charger. So you have more access to this card against Ryseal by having the quick play spell as well access this card. But for me it was fine, I just needed a 6th card. It used to be Tikaboo, but I feel like Tikaboo's horrible. Even though it like reads like it should just win against Malice, I feel like often like, I don't know, if you get interrupted enough and you just set I don't know, it just never came up. I didn't draw this card though, so I don't know, it could have been awful, I don't know. And then just Malice Hate, because it's the worst matchup for the deck. I chose to play 3 Lancia, 3 Chaos Hunter, and then 2 Meows. I didn't want to play, like, for example, 3 Meows and 2 Chaos Hunter because I was having an issue that when going second, if the opponent chose to just make the best possible end board and give you a bunch of draws, the worst thing that could happen was you drawing too many Charmies and not enough like live cards to break the board. Because your game plan is still like your engine has to break whatever they set up. So if you draw dead cards, it's bad. So I thought 8 Charmies would give me the highest chance to see at least 2 going second or 1 going second and not draw too many off of them. And then this card is very high roll. It did get outed twice by Talents, and that sucked really bad. Like it kind of, I don't know. It's maybe almost even just better as a going first card. But just having 6 going first cards against Malice that like win the game on the spot is really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was the deck profile.
Awesome. Yeah, having all that Malice Hate completely makes sense. As many Memento players know, having to deal with non-targeting banishes as well as just kind of the FTK board that they set up, it's not good for the deck.
Yeah, no, and especially because the other like good decks like Pure Mitsu Ryseal, their disruptions are destruction, which turns on your extenders. All of Malice's disruptions are not even just non-targeting banishes. They never destroy. So your extenders always just rot in hand, like your Fusion and your Sleepy.
Yep.
So that's just, and also Whitebinder Banish the Graveyard can be very strong in grind games. Yeah, so you do need to just like respect that deck the most, and I still think it's like the most insane deck in the format. Even though it hasn't been like performing like how people expected or whatever.
Yeah. So with that, what is as like the metagame goes forward and as we're going to be going into Nat season and stuff, how do you think the Memento deck is positioned, and why do you think the Fiendsmith version is probably the superior one for the event?
The Fiendsmith one is the most flexible into the most amount of hand traps. And it feels like when you're going first, you're trying to consistently beat, not even just like Charmies being activated on you. Like for example, Purulia, which a lot of people are main decking, that Fiendsmith plays really well into. You can do the full Memento combo without ever giving a draw through one engraver, like through Purulia. So that seems important. Like having these like flexible options into like the hand traps of the format seems very important. And also I feel like because Malice is still extremely popular, you can't really play the other side engine, the Goblin side engine, as much. It just feels weaker. It like doesn't do enough against Malice, whereas having Fiendsmith cards can actually force stuff in a more profitable way for you. Like maybe you activate Track, and then they're tempted to like White Binder banish your like changing WC to White Binder banish your Lurie and your Engraver, and then you just have like a Memento name, and now like your Memento engine is safe in the graveyard from the White Binder for the rest of the turn. Things like that come up a lot, I feel like, so it does feel stronger in that way. I also tested Pure with Super Poly. I felt like Super Poly just wasn't doing enough. And then Pure was struggling to just like beat like cards like Impulse a lot.
Yeah.
Like Impulse is still really broken against this version, but against Pure it's like way more broken.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are my thoughts on it, at least.
Yeah, I would completely agree, and I think that, you know, I something we had always been talking about in addition to Horned Dragon was the Fiendsmith version versus Pure, and I was kind of stubbornly about Pure, but I think more and more right now with the addition of cards like Duke of Demise and the fact that the two best decks in the room are playing Dominus Impulse, it really seems that the Fiendsmith version is the better positioned one of the format. And you know, seeing from your result, I think that's also a great conclusion to draw from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely feel that way. And also I think it's so good for your pet deck when a pro player picks it up, because the innovation that some like of these like really good players bring to the deck, like thinking about cards like Duke of Demise, and then just like you thinking about them and coming up with your own ways to use it, it really just it elevates the deck so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess I'll do shoutouts now, unless you have another question.
No, I was just about to ask you for those. Yeah.
Cool. So shoutouts to, first of all, my friend Kyle. He does not play Yu-Gi-Oh! He just wanted a shout out after he saw that I got second place. So shout out to you. And also shout out to my girlfriend Mallory. Shout out to all of my people in Gainesville and in my close testing group. Mallory is also actually part of the testing group, and they put up with me playing Memento when they could probably be getting more help from me playing like a meta, like a top 2 deck or something, but it helped me out, so thank you all. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the channel and showing us your deck profile, and congrats on the awesome result.
Thank you.